How hard is it for everyone everywhere to come together and pray? Matthew's Gospel, chapter by chapter and verse by verse. Welcome to Life is One Day at a Time.com. I'm Minister Chestnut, and I'd like to welcome you to another old-fashioned Bible study as we get into Matthew's Gospel. But first, I'd like to wish you grace, mercy, and peace, because we need it in these trying days. In Matthew, we are continuing chapter 8. Jesus had just met the centurion. He said, "Just speak the word, and my servant will be healed." And Jesus was amazed of the faith that he had. And he said, "Hey, be it unto you as you believe." And this servant was healed in that self same hour. As we continue in Matthew chapter 8, verse 14. Now he's with Peter, and he's going into Peter's house. And when Jesus come in, this is verse 14. And when Jesus was coming to Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laid and sick of a fever. And he touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she arose and ministered unto them. Now, right away, you're thinking, Peter was happy, because I'm pretty sure he knew his mother was sick before he left. And now Jesus came and healed her. Hey, she can get up and cook for them, minister unto them, and get things done so they can continue on their mission. Verse 16. And when Eve was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and he cast out the spirits with his word, and healed all that were sick. See, they said, name him Emmanuel, which means God with us. Jesus was God with us. He had the power and authority to heal, to heal the blind, cast out devils into outer darkness. He had it going on. Verse 17. That it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, He himself took our infirmities and bare our sicknesses. See, at the same time, Jesus was fulfilling prophecy. Now, what prophecy are you talking about? Right here it says, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Elijah the prophet, saying, Himself took our infirmities and bare our sicknesses. Now, let's go there and see exactly what he said in Isaiah 53. In Isaiah 53, verse 4. Well, let's back it up, because this is prophecy being prophesied over 1,000 years before Jesus even came on the scene, and what was going on. When you get a moment sometime, read the whole chapter of Isaiah 53. But we're going to back up a couple of verses and bring it in so you can get a concept of what was going on. Who had believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? This is a question. Verse 2, Isaiah 53. For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He had no form for comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. I mean, he's just going to be like an average man, God and man. He's talking about Jesus right here. Verse 3, he is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief, and we hid it as were our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. This is why we came here. Verse 4, surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken and smitten of God and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, and he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. Now, this is prophecy 1,000 years before Jesus came on the scene, but he's on the scene now in Matthew, and he's healing all kind of people, sicknesses, casting out devils, fulfilling prophecy. Matthew chapter 8, verse 18. Now when Jesus saw great multitudes about him, he gave command to depart to the other side. And a certain scribe came and said to him, Master, I will follow thee wherever thou goest. Now, everybody was falling in love with Jesus because he had that light going on. Okay, and now here one of the scribes came. He wanted to go with him, and Jesus said unto him, the foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man not where to lay his head. The Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Now, what does that mean? Well, when he said the Son of Man, he was referring to the first man, Adam, who had dominion over all creation. But then he lost it. And so Jesus, since he hadn't completed his mission here on earth yet, he didn't have nowhere to lay his head. That means where it wasn't his time to regain dominion over creation and what was going on. Okay. Verse 21. And another of his disciples said to him, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. Now, here's another young man who wanted to follow Jesus, but, his father just died. Listen to what Jesus told him. Verse 22. But Jesus said unto him, follow me, and let the dead bury their dead. Sound pretty deep, huh? But this is what he was talking about. When he said, let the dead bury the dead, when he said that first dead, he was talking about spiritual dead. Because there was no born again people at that point in time. Jesus hadn't fulfilled his mission yet. So basically, everyone was spiritually dead. So he said, let the dead bury the dead. Verse 23. And when he had entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest Now that's a great storm or like a great wind all of a sudden just whipped up. A great tempest rose up in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves. But he was asleep. Now, if he was asleep and said the ship was covered with waves, that means it had a deck and he had to be down inside, where he wouldn't be getting wet right away. Otherwise, it would have woke him up. Verse 25. And his disciples came unto him and woke him and saying, Lord, save us, we perish. Verse 26. And he said unto them, Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. Verse 27. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this? Even the winds and the sea obey him. I mean, this was God with man, Emmanuel. Verse 28. And when he had come to the other side, into the country of the Gergesens, there he met him two possessed with devils, coming out of the tombs, exceedingly fierce, that no man might pass that way. I mean, you got two guys being possessed by devils, living out in the graveyard, ain't letting nobody come by, and Jesus approaches, and guess what they do? Guess what they say? Verse 29. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have you to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? Now, this goes into Revelations. At the end, when the devil is cast into the lake of fire with all his little cohorts, they knew that, that what their punishment was going to be, and they knew who Jesus was. They called him the Son of God. They knew exactly who he was. We're talking spiritual now. We're talking spiritual things here. Verse 30. And there was a good way off from them a herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, If thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine. Now, they didn't want to go where they really supposed to have gone, but they knew they was going somewhere. And what did Jesus say? And he said to them, Go. And when they had came out, they went into the herd of swine. And behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea and perished in the water. Now that was pretty deep. Here you have demons, devils, asking Jesus for mercy. And he gave them mercy. And when they went into the pigs, they had enough sense not to be possessed by the devils, and they ran into the sea and drowned themselves. Hey, I'm out of time. I'm Minister Chestnut, and I'll see you next Friday night on another episode of Life is One Day at a Time.com. How hard is it for everyone everywhere to come together and pray? Stop. Take a minute. Pray.
rejoice. Don't forget, lifeisonedayataTime.com comes on every week with Minister Chestnut live and in living color. So be there every week because Jesus is our rock.